Hi, guys, and welcome to another exciting episode of Black British Parent Podcast. Today, we have an amazing guest. I say all of our guests are amazing, but certainly a phenomenal guest. Our dear friend, Paul Mohammed. How are you doing?
I'm not too bad. I'm fine. Wonderful.
Great. Thank you for joining us. Please let our people know, our listeners know more about you and what you do.
Okay, well, my name is Paul Mohammed, and I am the founder of Crowd Purchase Movement, Money Mob. It is a by Black organization that uses group economics to support Black-owned business. I suppose our claim to fame is the Money Mob event, where we would target businesses, usually by referral, and then what we would do, we would then create a media campaign and then on a day and time, we would mob that business. And it could be 10 people, it could be 110 people. Each person has a minimum spend in that business of £10 per person. And in that way, we're able to directly affect that business financially. But what we found going forward, that even more importantly, we're able to let the world know about their stories, their ups, their downs, their journeys, their challenges, obviously what products they sell, and more importantly, where they are located. And because what we found is that those who are a part of the Money Mob, one of the big questions is that I didn't know that this is a Black-owned business, literally around the corner from where I live. So that was really very much the aim, to make sure that we do that. And then what we've done now, we've spread more into media, because it's very important to make sure that people are able to get an idea of those businesses, the cold face, even, in creating a Black economy that I believe is really, really vital.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate you being here.
And it's an honor.
Not that we really need to have an icebreaker, I'm just saying, but for the purpose of our podcast, I've been asking our guests, what is your favorite all-time film?
My favorite all-time film is Blade.
Yeah?
That's my all-time favorite film. I love the film because it just tells the story of, obviously, it's a man that is almost godlike. He walks the earth, in that way, and his companion is a Black woman who is developing a knowledge of herself and her purpose and being. And he doesn't play. And I like the idea, someone who ain't playing. He sees the enemy and he will slay them.
It is one of my favorite films. I do like that one still. Thank you. So we your background with Money Mob and in Black businesses, can you share your journey and what led you to become an advocate for investing in Black-owned businesses?
Okay, well, look, I've been working as an entrepreneur for more than about 40 years. That's been a part of my journey. And in that journey, it's meant that I have traveled, doing business, whether in the United States, whether it's in Europe, on the continent of Africa. So that's always been my journey. But the thing that made me think much more acutely about Black economics, and especially within the context of Money Mob, is that I remember watching a soapbox back a few years ago. They had a program called Soapbox. It's a podcast, and in that there was a sister that had a hair company. She was based in Lewisham, and she had said that someone had come in to her shop and asking for a product that she didn't have. So she said, well, look, you can go on the high street. You should be able to find the product that you want, okay? So the lady left the shop. A couple of weeks later, she came back and she said, look, I found the shop to get that particular product. But something curious happened. When I'm speaking to the owner, he's saying to me, anything that woman has in her shop, we will give it to you for 10% less.
Gosh.
Yes, she's a troublemaker, and we're looking to, get rid of her off the high street. And when I saw that, I said to myself, but wait a minute. So this is a woman, entrepreneur, Black woman, that's providing products for her community, and now you and another community are now looking to drive her off the high street. It made me incensed. So I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I felt that I had to do something. And it was just as I was kind of researching, I saw a podcast, and they were doing this thing where they were, and this is in America, and they were visiting shops and supporting. And I said, my God, yeah, that's exactly the kind of thing I want to do. So I got on the phone, spoke to a couple of my friends, and I said, look, I want to do a money mob, targeting, businesses. And they said to me, Paul, yeah, if you do it, we're going to be with you.
Okay.
And that's when the money mob was born.
That's beautiful. Beautiful beginnings. What time era was that?
That was 2016.
Gosh.
Yeah, that was 2016. In truth, May signals 8 years since the Money Mob has been in existence. Yeah, and we targeted our first shop in Lewisham. It was a grocery shop, and it was surprising because I at that time, social media, Instagram, Twitter, that was around, but it wasn't as much. So most of the information we disseminated via WhatsApp, and it just kind of took off.
Yeah, I remember seeing it on social media. I was like, this is phenomenal. This is amazing. It was beautiful and brilliant to see. Indeed. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what it is. It just kind of took off, and all of a sudden, I had people come. Oh, Paul, we're a podcaster, and we want to come down and do the filming.
Oh, wicked.
We're doing this. We're doing radio. We want to do, you know what I mean? And yeah, we came down there with a group of people. There was about 20, 30 people who descended onto the shop. And that's how it happened. It was a great experience. And then what we did was once a month we would target businesses, and usually they wouldn't, at that time we wouldn't tell them they were coming.
I was about to ask, how did they receive that? Go on. You didn't tell them you was going?
No, I didn't tell them. Only if you knew I was on. It was only if you knew
on social media or WhatsApp,
or WhatsApp in particular, you would know, because I would, in my advert, I would say, "Shh, this is the business we're gonna go for," and then what we would then.
That must be shocking and a beautiful experience for them as well. What was some of the feedback of these businesses?
Well, look, we had businesses that. They were completely blown away. But I have to touch on two particular businesses. And I was, at that time, it was about a year into the Money Mob. I was away out of the country, and I was conducting, the promotion and advertising, abroad. And, some of my people was over here, and they were, they're on the ground. And one of the shops actually is on Brixton Hill. We mobbed that business so hard that they had gone. They had to literally sneak out the shop, go and buy some more stock.
No way.
Sneak back into the shop to serve the people. That's how it was. I mean, it was serious.
You sold them out. They sold out completely.
You know what I mean? Sold them out. And then there was another one. It was a supermarket that we did in Croydon. And I
think I remember that one. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
And she has kept me such a beautiful note to say that from 11 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock at night that her counter was the money was going through the counter. It was
Gosh.
ching 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 through, you know what I mean, through the counter, and it hadn't stopped from that time. And in truth, it started from Friday, Saturday into Sunday. And I said, wow, that was really, really beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. So, in what are some of the most impactful ways that investing in Black-owned businesses can strengthen our communities?
I think we have to be practical. Most communities, when they're building their businesses, they are going to seek, in regards to the pool of employment, from their own community. Why? Because they understand them. So it will mean that as your businesses grow, you are going to employ, people that will look like yourself. Obviously, Black business employs
Other races, other
other
cultures,
races,
yeah.
other cultures, but there'll be more of an opening for Black employment.
Yeah.
So that's one of the main things. The idea of then having a viable economy is another thing. We spend only between 3 and 5% on Black-owned businesses, meaning that you have communities and there was a study that Afro communities will spend anything between 10 to 20 days with the money circulating in their community. But in the Black community, our money circles in the Black community for only 6 hours. You can't have a viable community. You can't have a viable economy if your money circles not even a day.
That's half a day.
Half a day.
That's wild.
It is, and that's the point. So it is important that you have the money circulating in your community. Why? Because it provides employment. It provides the mechanism to then grow other entities in your community. And that's really, really important. There's also a correlation with things like, mental health, the idea of, low self-esteem, the crime even, based on the fact that, okay, if you have a population that is not employing their own, and it is then topped off with the fact that there is now rising unemployment, then what's going to follow? It's going to be crime. You know what I mean? There is going to be a feeling of low self-esteem. There is going to be, and you can see aspects of that in our community. The burgeoning rise in mental health issues. So these are consequences of of not having a viable economy, and also again, when you don't have control on the food that you are consuming, when you do not have control of your, of the education that your children are receiving. Why? Because you do not have an infrastructure. That's a problem. When you become an economy or become a community that is mainly a consumer economy as opposed to a growing financial economy, then what happens, instead of you becoming a community that is now growing, you now a burden. You see, and people then target burdens, and that's the reality.
Gosh, yeah. That's pretty profound. That's pretty deep right there. To look at it on that scale. I mean, I've always been advocating, in some ways to spend some money monthly with Black-owned businesses, but to take it to that level, it's.
I'll give you for instance, all right? Okay, the Borough of Lewisham. The Borough of Lewisham has a population that is commensurate to the population of the island of Barbados.
Gosh, yeah.
And the black population in Lewisham has a population the size of St. Lucia. Now, because we spend 2 to 5%, that means that businesses, black-owned businesses in that community will probably get £80,000 revenue from their community, as opposed to the possibility if we spend even 10%, we're talking about maybe anything between 10 to 40 million pounds.
Gosh.
That's a completely different scenario now, you see. And with that, the amount of jobs that you can now build, you now can create. So I'm just talking about just one borough.
Yeah. And the business created with that, the jobs created from that allows more room for people to comfortably reinvest in their own economy as well. Yeah.
That's the thing. So again, it's so important for us to be thinking in terms of, okay, less about just convenience, but more to it now focusing on, being discerning. Why? Because again, if you are a burden, there's going to be a problem, as opposed to someone who is considered, that is always, more a someone who is building.
Yeah, vulnerabilities and burdens are always a problem in societies, aren't they?
And that's the thing. We've seen it borne out recently, in that incident in Peckham where someone can come in and you're buying something and it ends with, rights or wrong, whatever, but it ends with someone being strangled. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why? Because one community thinks you're a burden.
Yeah.
You see. And they know that you are going to come back tomorrow.
Yeah.
They know it.
Yeah.
So.
And if you don't, someone else from your community will also.
Exactly.
Yeah. Speaking of investments, what are some of the challenges black-owned businesses face when attempting to secure investment?
I think this has always been a perennial problem that black-owned businesses don't get the same sort of investment, especially from institutions. I think this was borne out in a report that was recently done, the Black Entrepreneurs Report 2021, done by Dr. Carlton Brown, where he talked about the challenges of getting funding, and I think there's a chapter in the report talks about the race paradox in regards to people understanding the problem, but not really putting boots on the ground in regards to that. Now, finances is the thing that will dictate how your business grows, how fast it grows, how much it develops. And if you, if you have a budget of, 0 and growing, as opposed to someone who has a cash injection of, 20, 100, 200,000 pounds, obviously the trajectory of that business is going to be, is going to grow much faster, because there's key elements in building your business, and these are some of them you can see, and some of them you cannot see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, finances is a must. And a lot of the time when we are starting, we're borrowing into our own kind of into our own resources, maybe some money that we've had, put down, for something else,
Or inherited.
or we've borrowed from relatives, to start. Also, we may, become redundant, and so therefore we've now used, our life savings, in some cases that we've used to, now start, our business, as opposed to, as I said, being able to, put into a situation that we can, really grow our businesses, because businesses by nature needs feeding. It needs feeding, you know. It's like, it is to some degree like having a child. Well, again, I think this is where I believe the group economic thinking platform is needed and required. Businesses, they by nature, as I said, they need feeding, and if we are now able to make a conscious effort to say to ourselves, look, this is a business that I am going to target, and I am going to now consciously say, all right, I'm going to start off £10 a month. Every month, I'm going to dedicate to that business. Or £20 a month. Every month, I'm going to dedicate to that business. And then make it a real effort to make sure that our friends are able to jump on board. I think that those things are really vital. You'd be surprised. I mean, I have been blessed to speak with hundreds, if not thousands, of Black-owned businesses, and there are hundreds and thousands of Black-owned businesses, and the idea of them, and the thing that they tell me of the fact that some of their customers, will travel all the way. If they're based in they're based in London, they have customers that will travel from Manchester, from Bristol, from Birmingham to support their business, and how it makes them feel. Because again, for those who are running businesses, it's a lonely road. I'm telling you, it's lonely.
Take a sip.
I am telling you. And if you feel that, oh my God, you're not being supported, at all, it can drive you mad.
Yeah.
You see. So the idea of us, coming out of the convenience situation, convenience mode, and now deciding I am now going to consciously support my business, and down the road put a £10, put a £20, put £100. You know what I mean? I think on average we spend roughly about 150 to £200 a month on groceries and shopping alone. We can put 10% or 15% on that. And again, as I said, speak to those in our circle to do the same. We will make a difference.
Yeah.
I am telling you.
I hear that. I think some of the things that our community, I don't like to say complain, but it's a word that comes to mind, complains about the most, is how expensive or how much dearer our Black-owned businesses are compared to our counterparts, I suppose, that are selling the same thing. That can be challenging too sometimes.
I mean, in 2018 I did a survey, and in the survey I wanted those in our community to answer what would be some of the key elements that pushes you towards supporting Black-owned businesses, and elements that pushes you away from supporting Black-owned businesses. And yeah, definitely one of the points was the fact that they would go into a Black-owned business and they find that that particular product that they would probably get in a corner shop down the road would be 20, sometimes 30% more expensive.
Yeah.
And again, the reason is quite simple. The markups for that business who is a lone standing business. It's different for
Yeah.
those who may be businesses that have maybe 4 or 5 bricks and mortar, or they have a conglomerate of businesses
Yeah.
who are now working together and saying, well, look, we're going to go to that particular supplier and we're going to now buy
A
in
bulk
bulk.
and do it
And that's the
separate amongst
thing,
us. Yeah.
you see. And also, I have to say that we got to appreciate that business is war. And I know this is probably one of the reasons why a lot of the time I'm not on podcasts, because this is what I say: business is war. I've had cases where shops have had products that were being delivered to them by mistake, right? And these products are 40% cheaper
No way.
than the products that they are usually given.
The same product,
Same
technically, but
product.
just price different
Exactly.
for them to others.
That's the point.
That is crazy.
And this is not, I'm not saying this as just for the sake of the podcast. I'm telling you
Yeah.
that this is fact,
Yeah.
you see, because business is war. And it is about, who is going to win the race. That is the
Gosh.
reality. See? So again, if you are a business on your own, or your business, you can't compete. It's hard for you to compete. So that again, these are the things that one must understand, that we're competing on a completely different kind of playing fields. We have, dare I say, and this is controversial, we have a lot of our countries that will give favorable rates to conglomerates as opposed to parts of their own population, you see.
That's crazy.
So it means that conglomerate is helped in regards to the supply chain. And those of us who are small, micro or nano businesses are not.
Hey family, we hope you're enjoying the show. If you want to stay up to date with all things Black British Parent, we've got the perfect way for you to do just that. Join our mailing list and be the first to know about new episodes, exciting news, and upcoming events. It's super easy to sign up. Just head over to our website and into your email. Don't miss out on the latest from Black British Parent. Join our community today. Now, back to the show. What would make them do that though?
I think that that's for a different pod.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, moving on swiftly. So, group economics, you mentioned it before, is a powerful tool for building wealth, community wealth. Can you break down what group economics is and how it can be, implemented effectively in our community?
Okay, well, again, group economics is, to me, not only about making sure that we are consciously going to business and businesses with our money, putting our money where our mouth is. It is also about using the group voice to make sure that people are aware of that business and are able to tell the story of that business. So it's a multi-faceted thing, because businesses generally, yes, we need finances, but they also need the marketing. They need the promotion, because marketing budgets are, they can be expensive. So it is about, again, us, purposely making sure, consciously making sure that we are telling those in our community about it, and also making sure, like entities like myself, that you speak to entities like myself and support the thing that we're trying to do. You see, I've been working in our community for 8 years, and we have a good track record in regards to making sure we target and elevate and amplify the voices of our founders. And we want you, when we put the call out, to make sure that you heed the call. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it's important outside of that to make sure that businesses that you've worked with, because I know people are going to say, well, I've had very bad experiences with businesses.
I was thinking that. I wouldn't say, yeah.
And I know that's, we'll probably
Not myself
talk on,
personally, but I'm just saying that's something we say in our communities, yeah.
And I will probably touch on it later. But businesses that that you consciously have had and had dealings with, they need your voice. They need for you to tell those people in your circle, about them, and not make it a secret. It is important for us to amplify them. If we have our own social media, use our social media to let people know you come up across this business. They sell this product, they do this, they do that. You gotta go down there. Let people know when they're open. Let people know how you can reach them. This is the mindset that we have to have. What I mean? As well as consciously deciding, okay, we're going to spend X amount, and we're going to support those who support Black businesses.
And I think also adding to that equally, there has to be room for feedback. I think businesses have to take on feedback and take it seriously, as well as much as other companies do, because that can improve your business and help continue your business.
Well, of course.
And that can be a bit a techie sort of area.
Again, this is one of the things that came out of the 2018 report, the fact that there was a lack of communication, and that, in truth, that report kind of led onto a book that I'm actually currently putting together, called the 10 Consumer Commandments, and the 10 Business Commandments.
I love that. Can't wait for it.
Because there is a disconnect between the Black consumer and the Black business. And one of the things that is a concern is the fact that there's a lack of communication. Communication as a business, us not letting and walking our customers through exactly what is happening and why, you know what I mean?
Yes.
That this
be transparent.
And that's something that we have to
learn to do.
As business owners, we have to be much more transparent. We must be much more open. We've had, obviously, there's businesses that I work with as a consultant, and and we've had cases where, like, businesses have, doing decorating work, or they've had to close, but there's no notice on the front of the door to let people know that you're decorating. So people,
and it's a temporary shutdown, not a permanent.
Exactly, it's temporary, not permanent. So, and you don't know, people come from, you don't know where they come from to come to your business because they love the food or they love the drink, and there's nothing. So it is important for that we as business owners are able to make sure that we communicate as much as possible, in the right way as well. Because again, I know that we have I hear all the time that black restaurant scenario where you go into the restaurant and and you almost feel like you're doing that they're doing you
You
a
a favor,
favor by
yeah.
serving you as opposed to you coming as a customer. And I get that. And it is sadly there are elements that are there. Thankfully, not near as much as maybe was before, but I know that
It's improving, yeah.
yeah, it is improving and improving a lot. And there's a lot of examples I can show of restaurants or places that I go and I feel, oh my God, I feel really, really looked after. But again, as I said, there's always room for improvement in regards to that. And yeah, communication is definitely one of the things that we have to we gotta be looking at. That's for sure.
100%. Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to those 2 books. When I purchase my copy, please make mine be signed. I'm excited already.
Oh, don't worry, it will.
Okay, so how can families in small communities start practicing group economics on like a smaller scale?
I think that it's funny because I have seen elements of it. I got to shout out Jeremy Salmon, who has a book. Well, I think he's actually got a game that talks about
Partner.
the partner
Yeah.
collective economics. I think it's so important because it's important that our young are taught, really early on about, about the idea of saving. I said you just mentioned the partner. The partner system was a banking system that, for not my generation, my parents' generation, that was the banking system that bought them their homes. That actually bought them and started them off in businesses for
Yeah.
those who are entrepreneurial. So the idea of collective saving is so important, but also making people aware that by collectively saving, this is what he does for you as an individual, but now collectively now supporting a business, this is what he does for the business. The business now grows, the business is now expanding, the business is now able to now employ more people, and it will grow even more. It's now be able to now, enter into certain things, make the food much more kind of ethical. You're able to now supply products that are not harmful, whether it's products that you consume or products that you put on your skin. And why? Because you're more conscious of the community that you're serving. So these are things that really are important elements in the journey. But again, as I said, it starts from earlier on with our children, and you and I, as parents, we know children don't listen to us.
No.
Children watch
Yes.
us, and it's as simple and as sweet as that.
I like that, and it's true. And what are some of the, if any, misconceptions about group economics?
I think I don't know if it's I don't know if it's I don't think there's exception. I think one of the things that I don't hear too much of, but I did hear the fact that, okay, well, we're now supporting that business. That business are going to now grow. They're going to become rich, and they're going to go away, or they're going to move off, and we don't want that. To me, that's the wrong kind of thinking. I want Black success stories. I want to create as many Black millionaires as as I can. I've been blessed to be working at a time where I have seen businesses that I know have become million-pound
Yeah.
businesses. You know what I mean? And I think that that's something that is really, really important, because as you, again, I keep on saying it, as we have businesses grow, they're able to now be in a position to employ their position to now do much, much more. You know what I mean? We need more and more businesses that are growing to employ, to make sure that they write the right product. But also, it's important for us to be able to now be large enough that we can now be talking internationally, affecting change internationally, that we can now go as a block and say, well, look, this is what we want. We can go to our countries and islands and say, well, look, we have X amount, and we want just the what you would give to, Mr. This or Mr. That. And know that we can compete. We need to have growth. So the idea of not thinking or hating the growth of people who are helping to grow businesses. Yeah, that's wrong. But I think that, to me, that's the only concept, the only thing that I have heard, the fact
Yeah.
that yeah.
It's true that because there is a general view, like when it's, I guess that, what's that, rich people can't, something with the eye, what's that thing in the Bible? I can't remember. It was so silly.
Is it, that's it.
Yeah. And it
Well.
really has that concept has really held us back in terms of wealth within our community. And when with that idea, that perspective that you just shared, I always wonder, like, but you feel no way going to one of the major supermarkets and buying your bread from there. That's paying whoever owns it. They're making millions themselves from having those different branches, or whatever designer you're wearing. We have no problem making those people rich. But our people, no, we can't let them be rich, because why? Because I just don't understand that concept.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
And I get it. I also will hit you with another scriptural reference. In the Bible, it says, in my house there are many mansions.
Yeah.
So that means then not just one mansion for you. That means there's mansions
For everybody.
For everybody. So it is also promoting the fact that you can have plenty. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, if I invest in your business, then hopefully you'll be in a position to employ my child, who then might be able to make enough money for them to buy a mansion for us one day.
Indeed.
Yeah, so I like that. So investing in our own business is often seen as a path to job creation, as we just discussed. How do you see Black-owned businesses contributing to job security within the community? I think you kind of already answered that, but, just to...
Again, I think that, it is something that we kind of touch on. In my journey, I have seen, Black-owned businesses. Yes, I have seen them close, but I've seen Black businesses grow, and I have seen in instances where, in fact, it was a business. Actually, I went to a meeting yesterday. It was one of these, like an half-term meeting, and I had interviewed this lady who, up until 12 months ago, she had 2 to 3 people in her business. 12 months later, she has 10, 11 people in her business.
I love
you know
that.
What I mean?
Yeah.
So she's already now giving employment there. And I know that because of that, she's moving exponentially.
Yeah.
You see.
The thing is, I remember I've had conversations about this whole entrepreneurship and teaching our children entrepreneurship, not necessarily over an academic education, but that tends to be the divide. It's entrepreneurship or, degree sort of thing somewhere down the line. Although even if you've got a degree, you can have a business and,
Exactly.
You can have a business, still have a degree. Like, well, anyway. But the idea that our young people aren't necessarily motivated enough to be able to work being employed by a Black business. What's your thoughts on that in terms of preparing our children for that kind of life, that future?
Well, look, I think I think most children are entrepreneurial in one way or another. I always give my scenario of young nieces and nephews that I've had, and they're looking to sell sweets. But I remember my daughter. She's a she. I remember her even during uh,
Lockdown.
the lockdown. She was selling hand sanitizer and all this sort of stuff. She was 12. You know what I mean? I know other young entrepreneurs there. Always wanted to make sure that they can get value for money, or
Yeah.
they can, Uh, and so can I sell this, or can I sell that? I don't necessarily agree with it. I think young children are quite entrepreneurial
Of course,
because
but I'm talking about in terms of employability, though.
in regards to employability, again, I think a lot of that is down to their environment. Because if you're talking about going into a business, there is a certain discipline that you have to have, and a lot of that will happen within the home environment. Again, children don't listen, they see. If they see that mummy and daddy are very, they're quite strict, or they're quite disciplined in regards to how they do, and also are trying to, not trying, enforcing the fact that, look, whatever you're doing, do the best that you can in regards to it, then that will then translate itself into the workplace, or you know what I mean. And I think, again, speaking to youngsters that I know, their main employment is that, look, I will do what I need to do just to make sure you pay me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's as simple as that. Whatever I need to do, any kind of running up and down I need to do.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, I'll be willing to do that, as long as I said, you do by me what I'm trying and I'm endeavoring to do by you.
Yeah, I think there's some of the concerns as well when I speak to young people, especially if they got criminal convictions, criminal records. It can be quite difficult for them to get into work.
And I understand that. I think that, again, those who have had to, not had to, or they've gone through a particular kind of road, most business men and women that I do know, they were entrepreneurs on the road.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just that it was quick money.
Yeah.
And the quick money always leads to quick problems. So it's about, and the entrepreneurs, there's quite a few entrepreneurs I know, hence from that, they've done time, you know what I mean? But they've been able to transpose elements
skills,
of their business skills, and now use those elements to now turn over good money now. Why? Because they understand, they understand the art of selling. They understand their market because they understood their market on the road.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They understand about product. Why? Because they understand about product on the road. They understand about quantity. Why? Because they understand quantity on the road. You know what I mean? So they have a great knowledge in regards to how business is working. It's just that now, instead of now quick money, I'm going to be making slow money, but if I work my business right, I can accelerate my money.
I like that. Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you. What advice do you have for Black entrepreneurs looking to create sustainable job opportunities for within their businesses?
I think. All right. I work also within the confines of the Money Mob. I do consultancy work, so I work around businesses per se, and advise about best practice. And I always say to to those businesses is, number one, know your product. Number two, learn how to market product in a way that will it will attract you. Because most people market their own product not because they're too near to the product and not looking at your product from outside and understand, okay, well, if someone came to me like this, this is this is the kind of thing that would attract me. So it's about how you market your product. I think is really, really important. Also, it's about ethics in regards to how your product's being made, how it's being manufactured, where it's being manufactured. If you are hurt by by how you were treated, write a letter, write an email, send a note, at least make them aware. Now, if it's a one-off experience and if they, are worth their salt, they're going to come back to you. You know what I mean? And if this has been something that has recurred, it won't be just one email they've been getting. It'll be several, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So no matter how much you're going to want to ignore it, you can't ignore it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I would say we have to really be careful. And I said this in the book, stop this blanket, all black-owned businesses are bad. And remember, again, be careful of our biases and the ones, okay, this black-owned business may have had a bad experience, but that one may be better. That one may be fantastic. Then go to those ones that, you know, that...
Continue to go to the ones that you like.
Exactly. Go to the ones that you like. You've had a great experience. You have a great rapport with them. You know what I mean? And again, I speak to you as as a business person as well. I know that, the good experience with clients that I've had or a good experience that I've had with businesses I've worked with. I mean, you know how we are as people. We develop friendship. We, after a while, we know their children, we know their parents. That's how we are. You get what I'm saying? So yes, I would just say, please, I sometimes will have to check my own biases, and you have to check your own. And remember that again, look, there are thousands of black-owned businesses that are out there doing some really special thing. It's not just that one bad one, and so therefore now you can't do it. No.
Yeah. Thank you for that. We touched on this briefly before, but I don't know if we can develop on it. What role does education play in changing the mindset around supporting black-owned businesses?
Education. I suppose education starts in the home. I think education starts in the home. I think that if you're talking about us now being educated in the wider community, that's not really going to happen because, especially in the West, you're not going to be encouraged to support your own businesses at all. That's the thing, and that the economy or Western capitalism has very dark roots. You know what I mean? So if we are talking about the state education system teaching you about that ain't gonna happen. It's about education in the home, or education around people that you can trust as a mentor, who are able to now guide you on the merits of having black-owned business, having a successful black-owned business and communities. A lot of the time we, because we're here in the West, and I also say, one of the things that think is important is traveling. The reason why I say that is that travel, especially if you're traveling abroad to the continent or the Caribbean, it broadens your horizon in regards to how you see Black entrepreneurs and Black entrepreneurship. You know, I always remember going to the Caribbean as a 7-year-old, and I couldn't believe it. One of the things that really hit me was I was driving down this road, going to Montego Bay, and there was a large poster with a Black family. And as a 7-year-old, that really hit me because I'd never
Seen that
seen
before,
before in
yeah.
my life. The idea of then going to a bank and then seeing Black
Yeah.
bank tellers, or going to, walking down the road and then seeing the police, because the
Black,
police
yeah.
over there, they look like movie stars. They were slim. they had the uniform pressed on a level. You know what I mean? Or I'm on the plane and there's stewardesses, Black stewardesses, or
Yeah.
I'm on one of the small Liat planes and there's Black pilot, or one of the larger planes. You know what I mean? You know, those things are really important because these make you appreciate that, no, we are able to do that. Or even when you're on the street and you see people selling the nuts and and the Kisco pop or something like that, you're able to see another thing. So again, I think that travel is another way of making sure that you educate our young. But again, as I said before, our children, they do not listen. They watch. And if they see you at this one, at that one, and they don't see you in your own, that's where they're going to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you don't let them know, this is the reason why you're going here. This is the reason why. You know what I mean? And, again, a lot of things that we don't speak about is the fact that I said, when you go to go and get, go into shops and get to your own, shops, and you go and see our own products, that a lot of our entrepreneurs who are making products, they're considering the fact that this particular thing doesn't have a paraben, it doesn't have this is good for your hair, it is good for your skin, that the food that they're that you're going to be getting, that, there's a place just up the road, I can get my bananas without pesticide, I can get my roots without this, I can get my sea moss, and letting people know, and letting your children know, educating, this is the reason why, because that these people, they're making it to make sure that for your well-being, for my well-being, so those things are really, really, really important. I just think that's really what it is.
It's super important. So looking forward, what are your hopes for the future for Black entrepreneurship and economic empowerment in the UK? I say that on the basis that oftentimes there are Black, as you said, there's hundreds of Black-owned businesses, but we might not necessarily know they're Black-owned, and there's a good reason for that. Do you see what I mean? So on that kind of basis, what are your hopes for the future of Black entrepreneurship and economic empowerment?
Okay, well, look, my hopes is that I see more and more come to light the mass variants of Black-owned business, because it isn't just hair,
Black hair products. They're products sometimes for everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They are, there's a myriad of Black entrepreneurs that are out there, whether they are Black dentists, Black doctors, funeral directors, florists. They are a myriad, and that they are platforms where these brands and entrepreneurs are able to showcase themselves. So those things I love, and I think that's really, really important, because the more exposure that they are given, the more and more that we are aware of them. We're now living in a world that is smaller and smaller. So my hope also is that we are now also thinking nationally how we are able to work, how we are able to kind of do business with each other, and and we're now thinking national, but also global.
International, yeah,
You
yeah.
see, and again, for me, I mean, about 80% of the founders and business leaders that I work with are female-led founders and
Gosh,
business owners. And the
that's
beautiful
good.
thing about female-led businesses is that there is a greater willingness. There's a greater willingness for collaboration, and I think that that's really, really important for the future of Black business and entrepreneurship going forward. But but definitely one of the things in my mind is, is being able to, in the near future, be now looking globally to now make our links with the continent, make our links with the
Caribbean, yeah.
Caribbean. Why? Because, as I said, things are changing in this world. There is on the continent alone, they're talking about 80% of the population on the continent of Africa are under 25.
Gosh,
You
yeah.
see, you're talking about a growing young population, even in this country. 30% of Europe are Black and of color.
Gosh,
And, you're talking about 40 to 50 million people in the United States that have a combined gross national product of 1.2 trillion pounds. If they were a
wow.
nation, they would be the seventh or eighth richest nation on
Gosh,
earth. So there's a
gosh,
lot of scope
yeah.
for for growth. A lot of scope for us, as we now start to make our way and start making
Yeah,
links.
build our systems and develop them. Yeah, and our
Indeed,
connections.
making our connections,
Yeah.
we're able to kind of really, do some fantastic things. I'm telling you, really. So I'm very confident about the future, and I am hoping that I will be here to see the dawn of a vibrant global economy that is really, serving its community in a way. And again, as I said, it's the young, but definitely our, those of us who are forward thinking. That's going to be our mind. And as I said, our sisters, you are so important to that future.
I appreciate that. Can you share with us any upcoming initiatives or projects that Money Mob is working on that our listeners can get involved with?
Okay. Well, first things first is that please look out for our book, the 10 Commandments of Black Business and the 10 Commandments of Black Consumers. Please check us out. I would we haven't got like a main thrust in regards to an initiative, but I want you to please make sure that you follow us on all of our socials. We're on Money Mob 101, and when the call is given, to do an event to support Black-owned business in mass, we definitely want you to be there and support. It's really, really, really important that happens. And for those who again, who have a business and they want to speak to someone in a consultation, feel, let us know. Or again, if you are a business and you want to be on one of our podcasts, because we do have a podcast, we have lives, we're on radio. Make sure that you check us out, and that we can amplify your business. We are, we're here to really push the envelope in regards to the black-owned business movement, and as I said, yeah, make sure you're part of that. That's my concern.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Lastly, do you have a message for Black British parents, some of our listeners?
My message to those who follow this podcast is that you see these people here? We always ask for people who will be advocates for our community because we don't see them. We see, this one, sell out, and that one, talking against us. We are blessed to have a couple that have decided to forgo a lot of the comfort that they could quite easily have to do the work and service of our community. And I really, really ask you, to support them, support what they're doing. They're also a Black-owned business. Support them and what they're doing, because this is not an easy work. And the powers that be want your children. And these are people that standing in the way of that. And that makes those who do not like that happening very upset, very angry. So I would say to those who are watching this, support them. Really support them. Don't make it just be lip service. Support them because they are working hard in your service.
Gosh, thank you so much, Paul, for joining us on this podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. But yes,
You know what? It was amazing. It was amazing. And as I said, I don't know if the camera's still rolling. Is the camera still rolling?
yeah.
Yeah. Again, that's my last thing. Make sure you check us out. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. We are on LinkedIn. We are on YouTube.
Got email address?
Huh?
Have you got an email address?
I have. My email address is moneymobinfo@gmail.com. My website, which is under construction, but it is up and running, or will be up and running soon, is moneymob.co.uk. Follow the movement. Support Black business. Support the Money Mob. But it is indeed the future of Black economics.
Thank you so much. Guys, I hope you enjoy this episode of the Black British Podcast. Until next time, take care, be safe.